Hi everyone, it's Paulina bringing you another intuitively guided, channeled message. It's like a tongue twister that I made up. This is a pick a card reading, so there's 3 options, and just pick whichever one resonates most with you at first gander. We have this lovely stone. I honestly don't remember the name. This one, I think this is Spirit Amethyst actually, this one. And this other weird chunk that I'm not sure what it is. I'm not a crystallologist, sorry. Crystallologist. Also my camera sucks because I'm just starting out doing these messages just for fun. I'm hoping, I have a couple clients, but I'm hoping to expand it a little bit more because I enjoy doing it so much. And it's just fun for people I know or just strangers to sort of tune in and see if it resonates with them at all. Okay, I chose to have in my background today, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. It's the monkeys, and I think that's like pretty much everyone knows what that means, right? It's sort of I feel like it's like when something's like we don't want to look about, well, for the sake of this reading, I will read it as we don't want to talk about, see, or hear anything it's bad, and it can be negative because it means we're blocking out the things that are trying to get our attention in life. But it can also be good if we're like, paying too much attention to negative. I don't know. I kind of read that. That's kind of how I've always thought of, hear no, speak no, evil. You might have your own interpretation. That's what we're going with for today. I also have Buddha, who, he's just going to bring some chill vibes. So I want to do an energy read to contextualize the reading. I'm obsessed with Diana Cooper's Ascension cards, so I'm going to use those. I don't think I'll read from the book. Maybe at the end I'll read from her book. It's really interesting, but it's not really like other tarot books where you're like, oh, this so correlates exactly to this card. It's a little more freeform, which I kind of like. But okay, I got Archangel Retreats. One of the most effective ways to accelerate your ascension is to visit Archangel Retreats during your sleep. It helps to know where the retreat is, but is not essential. During the day, think and talk about the archangel whom you wish to visit. Breathe in his energy and prepare you for your journey. When you're ready, ask to be taken to his retreat. Your archangel will unfold you and help you with whatever you most need. Your guidance is to receive for yourself and ask for the light to help you to serve the world. Affirmation: I visit Archangel blank in my sleep tonight. So I think this is like inviting you to fill in the blank with your favorite archangel, which I think Diana Cooper, you're assuming that people like know all of them off the top of their heads, but I guess my favorite is I like Michael. He's sort of about the heart chakra opening. Then I also like Uriel, who's about forgiveness. Gabriel, about creativity. So take it as you will. Pick one of those dudes. There's more, and have the intention that you're going to visit his holy realm in your sleep. And I like that card for this reading. Okay, let's see what's happening. So for first cards set, I did choose to use Serene Virtue's Archangel Michael cards, fitting for the first card. I also used the Jungian tarot deck, which I forget the name, but I'll put it in the credits because sometimes I forget stuff. It's kind of like the traditional tarot, but it just has more like Jungian symbols, archetypes. And then I'm also using the Empathic Oracle by Steve Wilson and Michelle Matuzas. I'm going to use the book for that one, but they will be the third option, the third one that I read for each one. Okay, so if you chose number 1, the first card that we got was Self-Respect. I know this is going to be super blurry because this camera sucks, but whatever. Dear God and angels, thank you for helping me see myself as you see me through the eyes of love. Thank you for honoring and respecting me Please guide me to do the same for myself and grant me the courage to speak up on my own behalf. I ask for your protection in all of my relationships, so that I am surrounded by loving and kind people. Cool. Yeah. So we're going to contextualize that with the Seven of Wands. And I see this as like people in a battle, like an energetic battle that has to do with like when passions are high. I always just picture like in the traditional tarot, it's like these dudes literally like hitting each other with sticks. So I see this as a card of some sort of strife, and this self-respect card could have to do with like sticking up for ourselves in those kinds of situations. And sometimes it's hard for people who might have low self-esteem or like or afraid of conflict. I get kind of afraid of conflict, to like feel that that it's okay to be impassioned in their response to something. And I feel like these cards are sort of saying like it's okay to be in sort of battle for the sake of self-respect. Yeah, sometimes we have to do that. We got balance to contextualize those two cards. I'm going to read from the book for this one. Number 44, which the number 44 can be added up to 8. And that I traditionally see 8 as having to do with like the sign of Capricorn and like balance, financial balance and steadiness. Anyway, so all parts of my experience are in equilibrium, each receiving equal proportions of who I am. In your day-to-day life, there are so many things that demand your attention. The physical needs of others, coupled with your own desires for a happy life, can often lead to an experience of energetic instability. When you look at the experience of stress, you see it as an unfinished manifestation, a desired thought coupled with the energy of your intention set out in the world to bring to you that which is needed. Is a powerful skill, but only when each part is in balance. How many times have you began a project but became sidetracked by the demands of others or of life? When energy is given intention and then stops short, it is hanging in limbo in front of you, waiting to be finished. Add to this, let me just turn the page here. Add to this process of intention all of the unfinished energetic needs of your day-to-day grind, and soon the energetic buildup becomes a heavy weight that tips the scales. As our mind tries to decipher, how can I possibly accomplish each task? Jaded feelings about what is fair and what meets my needs begin to create a jumbled emotional mess. Your body begins sensing and experiencing this weight like quicksand, and soon all movement forward seems impossible. In times like this, you must quickly strive to regain your energetic equilibrium. Never forget your ability to assist others is limited to, the wording's kind of off in this book, is limited to your energetic strength and balance within yourself. Grounding, surrender, focus, and clearing are all useful tools to bring you back to balance. When you stabilize all parts of yourself, the process of finishing each task one by one can begin, thereby freeing the energy of intention and releasing you from the manifestation to begin the next. Soon your needs and the needs of others will no longer be competing to drain as you're be a competing drain, as your sense of balance creates an energetic base that allows you the energy to move forward. Do the needs of others outweigh the needs of me? Are my spiritual, emotional, and physical needs equal in attention I give them? Am I giving too much of myself away in hopes of validation or to prove worthiness? Okay. So I see these three cards all together as like there's an element of self-respect in relationships, and speaking up for yourself energetically, emotionally, psychologically, people you're around, and that is sort of relating to a perceived battle. Also, I always see 7 as things under the surface, things behind. Like it's like the number of mystery in numerology. And then we have 8, 7, 8. That's funny. Haha, universe, you're so funny. Yeah, so I feel like these 3 are about like a balance, finding a balance of like taking in what am I trying to say? being able to stick up for yourself energetically with others in a positive way, in an impassioned way, because the wands are always like the fire sign card, having to do with, like, if we're talking about astrology, like all the fire signs, like Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, and those are typically like these passionate fire energy signs that they're intense. Let's just say that they can be the aggressive signs, yeah, basically channeling that energy of like the fire signs to stick up for yourself, to create a balance within your body, because I feel like this is coming, these messages are coming, are meant for someone who is like drained, because they're just like not really standing up for themselves, and also like they're just like taking on other people's vibes, and that can happen if you're not like being true to your own needs, which can be really scary, especially for empathic people. Okay, so this is number 2. If you chose number 2, this cool giant rock I have. First message we got was, be gentle with yourself. Archangel Michael, please guide me in treating myself with gentle, nurturing love in everything I think, speak, and do. Help me know that I deserve this compassion. I release any feelings of guilt to you so that I may experience lasting inner peace. Okay. I like that in relationship to the last reading as well. It's pretty related. 8 Pentacles, a lot of 8s. So the 8 is like, the 8 of Pentacles is about like, the 7 is about an apprenticeship. The 8 is like building skills and moving towards completion. The 9 of Pentacles is like someone who's like got all their shit manifested. They're like in the traditional tarot, they're like in a garden, and they're like just enjoying all the physical beauty they've made for themselves in the world, the material beauty, because Pentacles is the material world. It's tarot it's traditionally linked to all the earth signs that have to do with the material world: Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. And I know 8 isn't the 8th house is not, actually I think the 8th house is, I'm going to put corrections, so I think the 8th house is the material we were manifesting, but it's not. I was thinking, 8 isn't Capricorn, it's not the 8th sign, but it's related to the houses. Anyway, whatever. So I see these two together as like being gentle with creating that wealth for yourself, and knowing that you're in a stage where you're moving towards having all your shit and being in the garden and being like, yes, I made this for myself, it's going awesome, and like I'm a queen of my universe. And I mean, in the traditional tarot, the 9 is a woman in a garden, and she's just enjoying what she's manifested for herself. But we're not there yet. So the 8 is like we're building something in the physical world and with materiality. And Archangel Michael is saying, please let me not be too hard on myself in terms of like making this happen, the things I want in the material world. And then the third card we have is Pedestal. I really like this card. I'm going to read the book because I read this for myself recently, and I thought it was a really potent, amazing message. Okay. Pedestal. This one's not as long as the last one. Each moment, every person, each equal in power, is a puzzle piece that has a placement in the past tapestry of my life. I added my life. Because sometimes when I feel like when I mess up, it's like I'm supposed to have messed up because it's meant to be heard that way, but whatever. When we place a person or belief system on a pedestal, there becomes a need for them or it to live up to the expectation. Because of the empath's intuitive nature, it can quickly become evident that the person on the pedestal is not up to the role. How often have you been in the presence of someone who you have looked up to and soon discovered their knowledge is lacking, or practiced in a belief that became disappointing because you sensed something was missing in its interpretation? We must always strive to experience each moment, belief, and every person as an equal. The teacher quickly becomes a student when they are open to learning the higher aspects of their craft. The student can become empowered in the realization that without their quest for knowledge, there is no need for the presence of the teacher. Each in an equal role, fulfilling a need, a balance of energy whose only goal is the moment. I like that. Have I given my power to a belief that no longer serves my need to grow energetically? Have my relationships become one-sided, unequal in their power dynamic? Have I placed a person on a pedestal in order not to step fully into my own power? Okay, so something about building your own, like, material empire and being patient has to do with realizing that, like, there's someone, or I want to say someone, but it could be something, like a situation, like a job, or like a, I don't know. I don't really know. That there was someone that you put on a pedestal, that had to do with, like, I'm sort of getting this as, like, you saw someone and were like, oh, they, like, have what I want. Like, they're, like, manifested in the material world. Like, they have the job that I want, or, like, the career that I want. And I think that as we get older, sometimes those, like, ideas become, like, so flimsy, and you're like, oh, this isn't even, like, what I thought. Like, and I realized I was just putting that person who I thought was so great, and, like, I was just putting them on a pedestal, and they're actually just human. And like it says in here, the goal is the moment. So the roles of teacher and student that we play with each other are really just, like, we're just in those roles momentarily. Like, we're teaching each other. And I actually used to work as a teacher, and, like, I always thought that I learned a lot from my kids, that, like, I just happened to be there as the teacher, but they were often teaching me a lot. I know it sounds silly, but I was working with inner city kids, so it kind of felt like there was a lot I could learn from them. And then you can put them on pedestals even. Anyway, whatever, that's getting complicated. Okay, so thank you for that. And number 3, this is this cool stone here. I'm going to read the first card. Is you have created this situation and you have the power to change it. I love this card. I always get it, like, just the right time. And I'm a painter, so it's, like, just great that they're painting. Thank you. I also like that it's a painting because it's sort of like an allusion to law of attraction, and just, like, that you literally create your own reality, which I know if you're an Abraham Hicks person, you're like, okay, I get it, but, like, it's just the perfect image. Okay. Thank you for letting me lean on your strength and reminding me of my own, for reminding me of my personal power. I keep adding words. Please guide me to manifest and heal according to divine will, creating peace and blessings for everyone involved. Okay, so the next message we get, the sun. In traditional tarot, this has all these, like, Jungian symbols and shit, but the sun is just, like, it's like, again, it's like, so some of the images in the tarot are just, like, they are what they are. Like, the sun, we all associate it with, like, joy, beauty, good times ahead, like, prosperity, things going great, and, like, the light side of life, happiness, absolutely. Yeah. You can also see the sun as, like, new beginnings, or, like, shedding new light on something. So I see these two together so far as, like, you can create prosperity in your life, and if that's not happening now, if you're, like, in a low vibrational state, or low vibrational situation, the sun is trying to poke its head through. You just have to allow it to. And then the third message we got for these ones are beginnings. Perfect. I love that, especially with the sun. It's, like, so perfect. I swear I did not choose these. That would be painstakingly annoying to, like, search for the right cards that, like, meant things good that went well together. Like, that's Spirit's job, not my job. So we have an 8 again. That's fucking hilarious. Sorry, I'm swearing, but it's just, there's a lot of 8s. I'm gonna read about the 8 numerology before we go. But so, beginnings. Also, it's a phoenix, which is, like, just perfect because the phoenix rises from the ashes. I mean, it's also linked to Scorpio, which I don't think we had any water signs come up yet. Not that this is, like, a deck that has to do with water signs, but if you know astrology, the phoenix is one of the manifestations of the Scorpio. It's the lizard is, like, the low state where everything sucks. The eagle is, like, their soaring it's like the high state, and then the phoenix is in the middle, where it's like we're going in between the low and the high vibrational, or being born again. I'm just going to read the message. Each new moment is filled with the excitement of what can be. Beginnings hold the magic of the experience of pure intent. Everything is new and full of light. Nothing has been tainted, and the little seed that was dreamt into existence has spreaded forth from its container. When you choose the energy of excitement as something new begins, your creations are sustained with the faith and trust of their growth into their intended purpose. When you experience your beginnings with fear, soon what has been planted withers. Am I excited about what can be filling my new beginnings with the love that it deserves? Has my fear made it difficult to experience a chance at a new beginning? What are my fears about the situation? Can I choose to embrace the fear and do it anyway? I love that. So I just see this actually as a perfect card for all of the stones, which I feel like there's a theme about, like, first was like energetic balance. The second was like putting people on pedestals. They're both kind of about personal power, but these I feel like you can create and manifest beauty just as easily as you can. In Abraham Hicks, they say you can create a castle just as easily as a button. So these are like really positive cards, because it's whatever like the situation is that's shitty, you can create the sun that's trying to poke through. You can lean into the sun that's trying to poke through, and you can be the phoenix rising from the ashes. And the ashes are kind of perfect for the sun god Apollo too. I mean, this isn't Apollo depicted, but I associate the sun with the sun god Apollo. Okay. And then I just wanted to do a quick reading about tomorrow's. This is for the 21st of January. And the planets for the 21st of January are the moon is in Leo. So emotionally, we're going to be like wanting to do fun, childlike things, be creative, being life of the party. And then we don't want to be like the negative aspects of Leo, where we're like, you know, I don't know, gossipy or being intense in a bad way. I'm just going to read a few more of the aspects for tomorrow, or for the 21st, wherever you're tuning in. The sun is in Aquarius, so that means the self is going to be in like the mental state, the mental humanitarian qualities of Aquarius. So it's going to bring out some radical justice, social change stuff in us. And people are just going to have like the aspect of self is going to be manifested as like thought, as revolutionary thought. So you might be like doing things with your body, or you might be like in situations that have to do with like really out there thoughts that you might not have tuned into before, or like, yeah. And then the Mercury is in Capricorn, which is like our communication is ruled by Mercury. So Capricorn is this like sort of austere, like emotionally held back sign, and they're the climber, and their social status and career. So you might be speaking about these things, or you might be a little isolated today, like verbally. You might not want to like talk with people. You might want to stay in like a reserved communicational state. Okay. Actually, I'm just gonna do one more sign that's going on tomorrow. We have Venus in Sag, which is great. I always have Venus in Sag because that's when I was born. But just for like the collective, for a day that the Venus is in Sag, your heart is gonna feel like you want freedom. Like you don't want to be like tethered down by anyone. People might be flirting with you. You might be like having fun with that and just like going for it. You might Sag is the sign of philosophy and higher learning, but it's also, it's the archer. It's like they're trying to like hit people with the truth, but they don't always go about it the right way. They might be clumsy in their approach. The archer doesn't always hit right head on. But for manifesting in Venus, which is our heart chakra, and like how we're approaching love, you're gonna want some freedom from, maybe that you might need some space from the person you love, or you might need some new ways of expressing your love with that person. Like, I don't know if you're into like tantra, or like you might need to open some like new doors in your romantic relationship. I'm gonna skip the rest of the aspects for tomorrow, but I did want to do the number 8, just because it had so much 8. The number 8 is a sign of success. In China, 8 is an incredibly lucky number. It's also a symbol of abundance and prosperity. It talks about the link to infinity. It also talks about self-confidence, which came up a lot. Yeah, so I always just see the 8 as having to do with being manifested in the material world, and the pentacles is related to all the earth signs. So yeah, we had a lot of 8 in this reading. Something about materiality and new beginnings, creating the life you want in the physical world. Okay, so thanks for tuning in, and those are the messages for January 21st, 2019. Have a great night.